See, it was all based on personality. Katharine Hepburn said that you can't be a star unless you have a personality. And the personalities is what made all of these people really great.
What if one of Hollywood's coolest stars walked away from a role that turned another actor into a global icon? James Coburn, the man with the toothy grin and effortless charm, did exactly that. But why? Was it bad timing, creative instinct, or just plain indifference? The truth behind his choices reveals a side of Coburn that Hollywood rarely talks about. Let's uncover the full story. James Harrison Coburn III was born on August 31, 1928, in a small town called Laurel, Nebraska. His father, James Harrison Coburn II, was a mechanic who ran a successful car business in the 1920s. His mother, Mylette S. Coburn, was a Swedish immigrant who brought a touch of her European roots to the family. Life seemed good at first, but the Great Depression hit hard, and the family lost their garage business. They had to leave Nebraska to find new opportunities. An interesting detail is that James had a twin brother named Robert. While James would go on to become an actor, Robert chose a very different path and became a philosophy professor at Ohio State University. Another lesser-known fact is that James was the grandson of Charles Coburn, a famous actor who won an Oscar. However, this connection wasn't widely mentioned during James's career. After their business failed, the Coburn family moved to Compton, California. Back then, Compton was a growing suburb. As a boy, James developed a deep and distinctive voice, but this wasn't something he was born with. A bad case of bronchitis during his childhood changed his vocal cords, giving him the voice people would later recognize. While attending Compton Junior College, James worked as a movie theater usher. During his shifts, he became fascinated with Mickey Rooney, watching his movies over and over again. This job planted the first seeds of his interest in acting, though he wasn't yet serious about it. In 1950, when James was 22, he was drafted into the United States Army. His time in the military was full of surprises. He started as a truck driver in Texas, but also worked as a disc jockey on an Army radio station, using his unique voice to entertain troops. Later, when he was stationed in West Germany, his voice led to an unexpected role. He was chosen to narrate Army training films, which was his first real experience in front of a camera. He also played conga drums in a service club band during his free time, showing off his musical side. After leaving the Army, James decided to take acting more seriously. He enrolled at Los Angeles City College, where he studied with Jeff Corey, another future actor. But the real turning point came when he moved to New York to study under Stella Adler, a famous acting teacher. Stella Adler had a big influence on James's acting style and career. She always said, "Never be boring, darling." And James took this to heart. Under her guidance, he learned how to fully embody his characters without letting them take over his personal life. This was very different from the method acting style that many other actors were following at the time. Adler often praised James for his ability to switch between characters effortlessly. While he studied alongside other greats like Robert De Niro, James stayed true to Adler's philosophy, keeping a clear line between himself and his roles. This approach became a key part of his success as an actor. James Coburn's television career began in 1953 with his debut on Four-Star Playhouse. He quickly stood out with his unique presence and even got attention in a commercial for Remington products. In the ad, he shaved off 11 days of beard growth in less than a minute, all while smiling his signature toothy grin. This was just the start. He went on to appear in several NBC westerns, including popular shows like Bonanza. He showed his range with multiple roles in series such as Laramie, Tales of Wells Fargo, where he played the famous outlaw Butch Cassidy, and The Restless Gun. His big break on TV came during the 1960-61 season, when he co-starred in the NBC series Klondike. The show was set in Alaska during the Gold Rush and featured Coburn alongside Ralph Tager and Joy Lansing. When Klondike was canceled partway through the season, Coburn and Tager quickly moved to a new show called Acapulco, where they played beachcombers in Mexico. In 1959, Coburn made his film debut in Ride Lonesome, playing Whit, the loyal sidekick of Pernell Roberts. The movie, filmed in Lone Pine, California, was a major milestone for director Bud Boetticher, who used the widescreen CinemaScope format for the first time. Originally, Whit was supposed to die in the story, but Boetticher liked Coburn's performance so much that he convinced the studio to change the script and let the character live. This decision turned out to be a good one. Randolph Scott, the star of the movie, was so impressed with Coburn that he suggested adding more dialogue for him. This small change helped Coburn stand out, and Boetticher later sent the edited scenes to director John Sturges, who was looking for actors for The Magnificent Seven. Coburn's role as Britt in The Magnificent Seven, 1960, was a major turning point in his career. Britt was a quiet, skilled character based on a samurai from Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai. Coburn delivered a standout performance with only 11 lines of dialogue. His character's expertise with knives and guns, along with his calm and confident demeanor, left a lasting impression. Britt joined the group not for money, but for the thrill of the challenge, which added depth to his role. The film didn't just boost Coburn's career, it also helped launch the careers of Steve McQueen, Charles Bronson, and Robert Vaughn. In 1963, Coburn reached new heights with his role in The Great Escape. He played Flying Officer Louis Sedgwick, nicknamed the Manufacturer, a character based on several real-life POWs. Sedgwick was an expert at making tools and gadgets to aid in the escape. In the movie, his character was one of only 3 prisoners who successfully made it to freedom. Sedgwick's escape involved cycling to France and being smuggled into Spain by the French resistance. The Great Escape remains one of the most iconic war films ever made, and Coburn's performance played a key role in its success. In 1964, James Coburn made a choice that changed both his career and film history. He was offered the lead role in A Fistful of Dollars after producers couldn't afford Henry Fonda. Coburn asked for $25,000 to take the part, but the producers had a strict budget and could only offer $15,000. This disagreement over money forced them to keep looking for an actor. They considered several others, like Charles Bronson, Henry Silva, Rory Calhoun, and Steve Reeves. Eventually, they decided on Clint Eastwood, who was a little-known TV actor at the time. Clint Eastwood took the role for $15,000, a decision that changed his life. Before this, he was just a supporting actor on a TV Western that wasn't very popular. The success of A Fistful of Dollars launched his career and brought him much higher paychecks for the next movies in the trilogy. For a few dollars more, his salary jumped to $50,000. By the time he made The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, he was earning $250,000 plus 10% of the box office profits. This rapid rise turned Eastwood into a major international star. Soon, he was getting $500,000 to $600,000 for big Hollywood movies like Where Eagles Dare and Paint Your Wagon. While Clint Eastwood was becoming a star in westerns, James Coburn took a different path. In late 1964, Coburn chose to star in a comedy, Our Man Flint. The producer of the film, Saul David, picked Coburn because he had a unique style that mixed the coolness of Humphrey Bogart with the charm of Jean-Paul Belmondo. When the movie came out in 1966, it was a huge hit. Coburn's performance as Derek Flint a sophisticated spy with gadgets like an 83-function cigarette lighter, made him a bankable leading man. The success led to a sequel, In Like Flint, but Coburn refused to continue the series after that. He wanted to explore other roles and not be tied to one character. Interestingly, his role as Flint later inspired the creation of Mike Myers' Austin Powers. After becoming a well-known actor, Coburn decided to take more control of his career by starting his own production company. His first big project was The President's Analyst, a bold political satire released in 1967. Although it wasn't a box office success at first, it later gained a cult following. Starting his own company gave Coburn more freedom to choose creative and challenging projects. Over time, he even moved into directing. In 1978, he co-directed the film Convoy, showing how his career had evolved. James Coburn's first marriage was an important part of his life. He married Beverly Kelly on November 11, 1959, after dating her for a year. They stayed married for 19 years and 5 months, finally divorcing on April 12, 1979. During their time together, they had 2 children. Their marriage also coincided with Coburn's rise to fame in Hollywood. While married to Beverly, he starred in some of his most famous movies, like The Magnificent Seven and The Great Escape. After the divorce, Coburn had a 4-year relationship with British singer Lindsay DePaul. Together, they co-wrote songs like Losing the Blues for You and Melancholy Melon. Later, Coburn found love again and married Paula Murad in a romantic wedding in Versailles, France, on October 22, 1993. In 1979, Coburn's life changed drastically when he developed severe rheumatoid arthritis. The condition was very painful and caused his fingers to twist due to shortened tendons. The pain was so intense that just standing up would make him break into a sweat. This illness mirrored the struggles his father faced, making Coburn's personal motto, "Go bravely on," even more meaningful. Despite having access to excellent medical care, nothing seemed to help. For 20 years, Coburn tried different treatments but could not find relief. His arthritis became so bad that it almost ended his acting career, keeping him off the screen for most of the 1980s. When Coburn was 68 years old, he found hope through an alternative treatment called MSM, a sulfur compound sold in health food stores. Under the care of Dr. Ronald Lawrence, Coburn started using MSM, which reduced inflammation and relieved his pain. The results were immediate and life-changing. Although the treatment didn't completely cure his arthritis, it helped enough for him to return to acting. After his recovery, Coburn became an advocate for MSM, even appearing in advertisements to promote it. His success with this alternative medicine created both controversy and interest, as scientific evidence for MSM's effectiveness was limited. His comeback began with a powerful role in Young Guns 2, 1990, where he played John Simpson Chisholm, a cattle baron. What made this return incredible was that, just months before, he could barely move because of his illness. He took on diverse roles during this time, appearing in movies like Hudson Hawk, Sister Act 2, and Maverick. Despite his health struggles, his charm and presence as an actor remained as strong as ever. In 1998, at 70 years old, Coburn gave what many believe was the best performance of his career. He played Glenn Whitehouse, a violent and abusive father, in the movie Affliction. The role was dark and emotionally challenging, but he took it on and made it unforgettable. His performance won him the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. This moment was especially meaningful because it came nearly 40 years after his breakthrough in The Magnificent Seven. Coburn said he drew inspiration for the role from his experiences working with director Sam Peckinpah, who had struggled with alcoholism. Winning the Oscar was not only a recognition of his acting talent, but also a symbol of his personal victory over years of pain and health issues. During the worst years of his arthritis, when acting on screen was too difficult, Coburn found a way to stay active in the industry. He turned to voice work, using his deep, gravelly voice to great effect. His voice became a key part of his career, and he took on many voice acting roles. One of his most famous performances was in the 2001 Disney Pixar movie Monsters, Inc., where he brought a character to life with his voice alone. Even when he couldn't appear on camera, he kept contributing to films and narration projects. In the 1980s, he narrated documentaries like White Rock, keeping his presence in Hollywood alive during a difficult time. Coburn's final years were filled with dedication to his craft. Over his 43-year career, he appeared in 94 movies, 24 TV movies, and 73 TV shows. Even in his later years, he stayed active, continuing to work in films that showed his range as an actor. On the day he passed away, November 18, 2002, he spent his time at home enjoying music and playing his flute. Coburn was not just known for his acting, but also for his friendships with legends like Steve McQueen and Bruce Lee. James Coburn met Bruce Lee at a Hollywood party, and their friendship started when Lee showed Coburn his famous one-inch punch. Coburn was amazed and wanted to learn more from him. Their bond grew stronger, and it wasn't just about martial arts. Coburn became one of Lee's closest friends in Hollywood. Lee even trusted him enough to work on a screenplay together called The Silent Flute. This was a rare collaboration for Lee, as he didn't usually write scripts with anyone. In 1971, Coburn gave Lee some advice that changed his career. Lee was thinking about taking the lead role in the TV series Kung Fu, but Coburn told him it wouldn't be a good idea. He said Lee's intense fighting style might not work for a long TV show. Instead, Coburn told him to go back to Hong Kong, where he thought Lee could find more success. Lee listened and decided not to do the show. He told Coburn he wanted to make more money than Steve McQueen. Lee returned to Hong Kong and made his famous movies The Big Boss, Fist of Fury, and Enter the Dragon, which made him a legend. Their friendship wasn't always smooth. When they went to India to look for locations for The Silent Flute, things got tense. Lee felt like he was stuck in Coburn's shadow. Even though Lee was a martial arts expert, he didn't have much say in the decisions. This upset him and created a rift between them. Later, when Coburn visited Lee in Hong Kong, Lee was more interested in showing off his fame than talking about future projects. Their relationship never fully recovered. Coburn was one of Bruce Lee's most serious students. He trained with Lee for 3 years, taking more than 100 private lessons. He even set up a special training room in his home, copying Lee's setup. Coburn wasn't just learning how to fight, he also studied the deeper philosophy behind Kung Fu. Lee admired this about him and said Coburn understood martial arts on a spiritual level, unlike many of his other students. Coburn watched Lee's incredible skills up close during training. Lee's strength and speed amazed him, especially when he kicked heavy bags with such force that they swung wildly. Coburn's dedication to martial arts was unmatched among Lee's Hollywood students. Coburn also had a strong working relationship with director Sam Peckinpah. They worked on several films together, including Major Dundee, Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid, and Cross of Iron. Peckinpah was known for his talent, but also for his struggles with alcohol. During Cross of Iron, his drinking was so bad that filming often had to stop while he recovered. Coburn stayed loyal to him despite these problems because he respected Peckinpah's artistic vision. Cross of Iron was one of Coburn's toughest roles. He played Corporal Rolf Steiner in this World War II film. The production was difficult from the start. It was filmed in Yugoslavia and had money problems, with much less funding than promised. The crew worked hard to make everything look realistic, using real tanks and weapons from the Yugoslav army. One of the most dramatic moments happened near the end of filming. Producers tried to shut down the production before the last scene was shot. Coburn stepped in and made sure the scene was completed, even having the producers removed from the set. That final scene, where he delivers the line, "I will show you where the iron crosses grow," became iconic. Despite going over budget, Cross of Iron is still considered one of the most authentic war movies ever made.